forgotten what you've taken on. I'm out of the cage, 'cause you opened the door. You're as innocent as gold. 'Cause if you're falling for me, just be one. 'Cause I don't think you're ready for it. I'm not the one to mess around. I don't think you're ready for it. Too many people done wrong. 'Cause I don't think you're ready for it.
welcome back. Eternal Dragon here with my first all-content boss-shredding build for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I present my Clawbringer Stabbomancer, Shadow God. Now this build mainly runs two guns which just destroy everything. Now the first is the Liquid Cooling, which drops from Lycia, the Obelisk boss in Crackmast Cove. Now the cooling on this gun never overheats while you're hitting critical hits, and this build will hit crits constantly, as well as being able to fire this gun forever. It also does a crazy amount of damage. And mine is enchanted to increase shock damage on my melee weapon to refill the ward faster in a tight spot, but you can enchant it with more frost damage, say, if you wanted to. Now the other main gun is the Live Wire SMG. The gimmick on this gun is that it chains to nearby enemies, and this really helps when you want to run and gun to max out your Stabbomancer speed damage boosts while mobbing. Now I enchanted mine to increase all damage dealt on spellcast, as I got this one as a world drop. Hold on, my cat is here, guys. He tickled my arm. Let's say hi to Johnny. Okay, good kitty, Johnny. You go ahead. Back to this. Over in the melee slot is the Fatebreaker sword. When you attack with this sword, it spawns 3 shock talons that refill your ward for 100% of the damage they deal. You can spam this when you're in trouble to stay up in even the toughest situations. I enchanted this with 40% gun damage bonus, as this one is always equipped, so that's very useful. This sword dropped from Zomboss for me. Now, down in the ring slots, we have a mood ring in either slot. These were world drops for me. I've got one for melee and one for gun damage. You see the bonus on this one is when the ward is not full, the effects are increased on this ring by 100%, which is fairly often in this game. So you could use a different ring in this slot if you wanted to, but I really like this one. Moving over to the ward, I have an Empowering Body rune, which we are using to get additional life when we kill enemies, as the Stabbomancer Clawbringer doesn't really have a lot of life gain on its own. With this rune, though, every time you kill an enemy, you restore 15% of your maximum health, and you deal 20% bonus fire damage for a short duration, which really helps out on this build. I got this as a drop over in the Chaos Chambers. This is another world drop, the Duelist Amalgam of the Chaos Fiend as a legendary armor. As you can see, this one doesn't actually have a special ability, but what it does have is 5 passives. Get a god roll of your choice. In the spell slot, we have a Buffmeister in Dark Magic. Whenever you trigger this spell, you are going to gain indirect damage of 155 points or more if you can get yourself a higher level one. I will show you that I have a higher one in Cryo, but that's not the one we're using for the build. That indirect damage is just crazy and kind of gives you sort of like a times 50 damage boost in general. Works for almost any build. Fantastic stuff there. In fact, it might work for all builds. I've got mine enchanted with Action Skill Start, increased damage dealt by 20% for 20 seconds. Then finally, over in the Amulet slot, I have a Universal Soldier, which is again a world drop. And the reason we've gone with this one, other than the Stabbomancer and gun damage on it, is the fact that whenever you deal melee damage, you have a 30% chance to instantly reload 100% of your currently equipped gun's ammo. That comes in really useful when you're mobbing with the Live Wire, as anytime you get low on ammo, you just swing your sword a couple times, never need to reload. Now moving over to the skills. We've mainly gone fire damage here, over on the Clawbringer side, with a boost in the elemental, and then of course we want the Remnant Orb ability because it's just super duper fun. Anytime you kill an enemy with melee or with a gun, you either get a lightning or a fire orb, which will chase down enemies. Now over heavily spent on the Stabbomancer side, you'll see we have 5 points in Arsenal, and 5 points in Swift Death, 3 points in Haste. These are to make sure that you can just move around really, really quickly, doing a ton of extra damage for your speed. This is fantastic. Now, we've got 5 out of 3 here for a 10% damage increase for each unique status effect that you can put onto an enemy, and you can put quite a few onto your enemies with this build. Up here, Potent Poisons, We've got a few points from our class mod here as well, but we spent into this points as well. We have the status effect damage boost and duration to really help max out the damage you're getting here. Down here for sneak attack, 15% additional critical hit damage. Then we have 1 point in elusive so that you can in fact sprint and gun, not just run and gun. Contagion, which helps spread your status effects. Guaranteed status effects directly applied by melee hits here, as we will be hitting melee hits to refill our ammo. And then maxed out into 1,000 cuts for stacking damage bonuses, 1% up to 25 times. That's a 25% damage bonus overall, which is just crazy good. And then some Executioner's Blade fun, 20% chance to deal 100% of your melee weapon damage for when your gun or your spell critical hits. How can you say no to that capstone? Moving over here into the points on the character, the hero points. We have 39 out of 39 strength to maximize our critical hit damage. We've put some points here into dexterity to give a high critical hit chance. And then 28 out of 28 in intelligence to give ourselves a high spell cooldown, even though we took thick as our character's background, wherever that shows up. It's kind of not showing up well right now. Thank you, game. Basic 2% status damage, as we are not going maximum into that. We really wanted more gun damage. Then we have a few points into Constitution, and then a few points into Attunement so that we can have a faster spell cooldown. So, that's the build, folks. I really hope that you enjoy this one. I had a lot of fun putting this together, and I just am super stoked that I was able to put this out so fast for you. So, enjoy the build. I can't wait to see you all soon. And guess what? I'm on PC. We have a save file. It will be in the Discord.
Quite the
We'll see you there,
collection.
and happy gaming.